Alright, a couple of quick response videos, hopefully Rose Bushy and this fuckwit. Anyway, jeez, it's really irritating. Only a half hour on this camera, so I have to go fast, talk fast. Anyway, Rose Bushy makes this idiotic argument. He's not going to talk about things that don't exist, problems that don't exist. So if you don't create the problem first, you can't correct the problem until you create the problem. So essentially he's saying you could never say something like, don't build nuclear power plants because they're too risky, because there's no real risk, because you haven't created the disaster yet. So if you prevent the disaster by not doing something, well, it doesn't count because you have to do the disaster first. So you just change his scenario. Instead of talking about human beings, talk about an animal experiment. And by his logic, if I conduct some animal experiment that just tortures an animal, like, you know, just sticking rods in a chimpanzee's head, for example, completely pointless, just causes the animal suffering and pain. I breed the animal for this purpose, to do this stupid experiment. It's just idiotic. His argument is, if I cancel the experiment, I don't conduct the experiment, I haven't spared anybody any suffering. I haven't prevented suffering. I haven't done anything good. I haven't done anything productive. It's just completely idiotic. He says he can't logically go there. Well, then you're too stupid to have a brain. You really shouldn't be allowed to have one because you don't know how to use one. Okay? You can't discount future consequences because they aren't here yet does not mean they won't be here, and it's just unreasonable not to accept future probabilities, inevitabilities, beyond reasonable doubt, possibilities and probabilities. It's just stupid. So you're an idiot. Fuck you. Alright, now let's get to this fucking asshole.
Words for him, and that if he'd like to give me the evidence that he said, and I quote, "I'm glad to show you, asshole," end quote. I'm available on Skype, and I would love to check.
Yeah, whatever. I'm available on Stickcam every Saturday night. You obviously don't follow the conversation. You have no context. You're just a waste of goddamn space, all right? I have no interest in having some privately tutoring you on logic, retard.
So this video is a response to his newest video on donotgod.com entitled BigLundi, Fuck You Some More. I'll be responding to some points now. First,
Great.
He makes the point that he doesn't care about jargon or dead philosophers, so I can shove them up my ass. Okay. So for the purposes of this criticism, as well as the advice of others who have been commenting on my latest video to him, I'll be simplifying my rhetoric. He said,
it's not a matter of simplifying, it's a matter of getting rid of a bunch of preposterous and nonsensical jargon. Jackass words, concepts, and ideas that have not been proven to be credible or meaningful or real or anything. They're just fucking made-up bullshit. Alright? And I don't have to accept that. Alright? So it's not simplification. It is, you know, but it's not, that's not the purpose of it. The purpose isn't to simplify it, it's to take out a bunch of errors and nonsense and bullshit. And just get to the fucking goddamn fact that there's a truth. You either describe it accurately or you describe it inaccurately. And how you evaluate the value of a theory of truth, okay, the test for a theory of truth is goddamn dirt simple. If there's no alternative reasonable explanation, then you probably have the right answer. Duh. And if you haven't if you don't say two things in the same theory of truth that are contradictory. So if you don't contradict yourself, and that is say, yes, women can veto rape, but no, human beings can't veto birth, yeah, that's called a conflict, and you have to resolve the fucking conflict.
If I have an argument, and if I'm intelligent enough, I should be able to sum it up in one or two sentences. So here goes. Sentence 1. The philosophy of antinatalism is based on an approach to morality that I find insufficient to define goodness.
Yeah, well, whatever. It's not a moral philosophy in the first place. It's a definition of value and ethics, okay? So it's just a simple description of the truth. Life is a zero-sum game. You have no hope of creating anything productive, and all you do is open the door for harm. That's the basic subject right there. Okay, argue that theory, okay? Not your made-up theory, that theory, asshole.
Sentence 2. I reject this notion based on the fact that people are independent, durable, and basic.
Basic, Basic means something. Durable means something. Independent means something. Are you, just be completely silly, right? Independent of what? They're independent of the environment, independent of determinism, independent of cause and effect. No, they're not independent of any of those things. Are they allowed to function outside of reality? Certainly. They're allowed to function outside of truth, yes, of course they are. They can deny the truth, all right? Or they can accurately describe it and accept it. Those are their options. But their independence is irrelevant. So yes, we have a fundamental disagreement. You base your philosophy on these three shit words. I base my philosophy on the only thing that has any real meaning, which is my comfort. Comfort, sentient comfort, is the thing that has meaning. You explain to me a universe that has no sentient in it, no concept of comfort. You can't harm it, you can't please it. Neither one of those things can take place. Now you explain to me how you have value in that universe. You explain to me how value is contrived in that universe, idiot. It doesn't exist in that universe, you stupid fuck.
And the fact that I find my own approach to be more substantive, or in simpler terms, better.
Right, and you're just declaring it so fuck you, I think you're an idiot. Alright, your declaration is founded on absolutely nothing. Silly, goddamn words. Independent, basic, and whatever the stupid other fucking idiotic concept was.
There you go, 2 sentences. Now,
mush.
To clarify, I read off the philosophical definition of hedonism to Gary.
You don't even smoke right.
He didn't really listen to it. His response to it was...
Oh, I didn't listen to your fucking definition? No, I did listen to your definition. I told you quite explicitly. I explained it in the video. It's right there for everybody to goddamn see. I'm not a hedonist. I don't accept the definition of hedonism as applying to me or antinatalism. Hedonism is not the subject. Everybody who argues with antinatalism clearly understands that antinatalists are concerned mostly with suffering. If there was no price paid for life, there would be no fucking argument here. If it was some kind of free adventure you go on and all you have is fucking pleasure, then everybody would just say, fine, go ahead and have your fucking pleasure, jackass. So it's pretty goddamn clear that it's not about some goddamn definition, alright, that has this priority of pleasure. And that's what hedonism has, is a priority that is focused on goddamn satisfying desire. And I clearly explained that my philosophy views desire as a zero-sum element. It is a negative thing created to create the illusion of positive. You are climbing out of a hole, you are not going up a mountain. Jackass.
Was, quote, hedonism is wrong because I don't think all the joy compensates for all the suffering. However, I'd like to point out that...
That's not a quote, you fucking idiot.
The second half of the definition that I read off said, and the only thing that we should place disvalue on is suffering. So,
I don't even use a word like disvalue. It's idiotic, fucktarded, foolish, nonsensical mush.
Hedonism agrees with you, Gary, whether you know it or not.
Well, again, you can keep sitting there saying, okay, I'm going to just keep straw-manning you by pigeonholing your philosophy into a category you've rejected explicitly. I've explicitly explained why the category doesn't fit, why I don't belong in the category, why my philosophy doesn't exist in the category, and yet you insist in putting me in the category. So I shall put you in the category of the morbidly obese, the excessively stupid, the fucktardedly smelly. Fuck you, asshole!
Now, the fact that this position is hedonistic is not a cheap shot like, oh, hedonism's bad, therefore you're wrong. No, it's a perfectly legitimate moral stance that has a lot of professional...
Yeah, it's again just an effort to sit there and pigeonhole somebody else's philosophy and misparaphrase it, put it in a category it doesn't belong into, ignore what the person has said, ignore what they've said explicitly, and just keep arguing the straw man. Fuck you!
...was arguing in its favor, but I don't find it good enough. I myself am what is known as a virtue ethicist. That is, I believe that we
No, you're a jack fucking ass.
Determine the goodness or badness of something from the virtues that the action either reflects or flips.
What the fuck ever that is, the virtue. Virtue ethic, I mean, it just makes absolutely no fucking sense. It has nothing to do with anything of real value. It has to do with a perception of value. So why don't you get to the fucking, what is the virtue in not getting it right? What is the virtue in... haven't you ever heard the phrase, the road to hell is paved with good intentions? Okay, virtue doesn't mean a motherfucking thing. Okay, it doesn't pay the goddamn bill. It doesn't sign the fucking check. Virtue is shit.
Say, for instance, and this is really simplified, say I value the virtue of courage, then it would then follow that actions that are cowardly are morally bad. It's not that cut and dry usually, and there's a lot of fuzzy logic involved, but that's essentially the gist.
Yeah, well, whatever. It means absolutely nothing. It means absolutely nothing. We can give you a million virtuous characters from even cartoons. You got Deputy Dog and what was that guy, that Canadian Mountie guy, and he was always getting it wrong. Mr. Magoo, a virtuous guy, but he got it wrong all the fucking goddamn time, and so he kept charging the wrong fucking thing.
It's a lot less concrete in concerning all actions than either consequentialism or deontology.
Yeah, it doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Lots of virtuous men fought in World War II for the goddamn Nazis. Okay? Honorable men. Okay? With bad ideas, silly notions in their head, lies in their head. Okay? That's all. Virtuous men, though. They died virtuously. They died doing the right thing by their understanding.
Now, the reason I don't find the moral approach antinatalism comes from to be a good enough definition of goodness is that it takes some rather absurd positions regarding the nature of people. For instance, as you make clear in your video, if one woman thinks rape is bad, then she gets to veto rape. Now, while I agree that rape is a bad thing, rape would really only be bad for that one woman. Let's use another analogy here. Consider the...
Yeah, let's just break it, right? So you don't accept... I gave you a simple thought experiment. I asked you a simple question. All right, there's some people that are going to enjoy the activity, some people not going to enjoy the activity. Do people have a veto? Simple. It's not that fucking complicated. I could have made it a million other ways. I could have said there's 4 people. They have to go on the ride. Okay, the one person will... have a horrible, awful, horrible time, might even die on the ride. The other 3 people don't need to go on the ride, they just want to go on the ride. Should they drag the 4th person along?
Idea that many people find flying to be safe, fun, and fast, but one person, or let's be a little more realistic, 10% of people think that flying is horrible, and it makes them unhappy, and they wish all the planes in the world would just explode in fiery messes.
Right, so totally unrealistic thought experiment. Has absolutely nothing to do with them having any real implication, right? There's no reason for them, because they don't want to fly, to say other people shouldn't be able to fly. So you've ignored the reality of the circumstance. The fact is the person's behavior impacts the other person. I did not get here by my volition. I got here by somebody else's volition, you fucking retard. Okay, I'm not some spectator telling other people, you can't have babies because goddamn babies don't turn into me. No, they do turn into me, you stupid shit. They turn into consciousnesses, and I have a right to advocate for those consciousnesses. And I certainly have a right to advocate for all the animals you fat fucking pigs eat.
It is not true that just because these people find planes insufferable and that they suffer as a result of planes' existence, that planes would then be rendered illegal.
Right, so why don't you use a realistic thought experiment like nuclear power or some other thing, okay, where the person is actually going to be implicated in the fucking goddamn scenario. All right, or use my Frankenstein example that was in the goddamn video, okay? Use that one, shithead.
The suggestion would be that they steer clear of planes. Now, let's apply this to what you felt was analogous representation between rape and having a child. Your response is that some people grow up suicidal and want to kill themselves. And if that's true, then it's never okay to have a kid. Because there's a risk to it. Despite all the people who don't feel this way, the child might. I reject this, and the reason that I reject this is because it rejects some things that I place value on. And we can
well, whatever. You reject what?
Debate the veracity of me placing value on what I do, but I value perseverance. For one...
Well, I don't care. That's total mush, right? So you're just going to, why don't you tell me I love God? Why don't you just say, I love Jeebus? Should I pay any more attention? Should I keep listening to this video? You're just going to talk complete, absolute crap, and then you're going to sit there and tell me I'm supposed to, what, listen to this shit?
I find perseverance to be a virtue. The fact that some people can get through suffering and come out better because of it is something to be valued and something to praise. Clearly, you disagree, and
Yeah. Clearly, there's educational value in all kinds of things, in upside down and right side up scenarios, and you can get there through the back door, through the front door. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have a goddamn thing to do with what the fucking goddamn argument's about. Whether there's this ethical value circumstance created by this aggressive act of doing this biological experiment of creating life, which is as significant an ethical decision as even as killing somebody. You can't fuck with somebody anymore. There's no other, you can't get more in somebody's fucking business than to impose life on them and say, here's the wonderful world I've created. We like to play hopscotch and watch silly American Idol TV shows. Aren't we special? And because the kid at 7 or 8 might have a higher IQ than its dumb slut mother, it's stuck here. Fuck you. Fuck you, shithead.
not sure as to why. However, giving birth to a child gives them the opportunity to reflect this virtue as well as others. If they grow up and
Well, it's absolutely it has no, you're just ignoring the circumstance, okay? So how far, can you just get to it? I mean, how do I zoom through this?
Then that's their right.
Well,
it's their body. You won't find me arguing against the moral permissibility of euthanasia. Another virtue that having a child can represent is caring. A person can have a child for...
Well, again, you're just wasting my goddamn time, all right? It's not the right of somebody else to impose their silly notions of caring and their silly virtues and the rest of this crap. They have no right to impose on me with that mechanism. That's not enough of a justification to get into somebody else's fucking goddamn business. I'll jump ahead a little.
I have the mental capacity to make informed decisions. In order to give consent for something, you need to be informed about it, and the consent could change depending on the information you receive. And because of this, the rights don't just disappear, they just stay with the parents. The parents take these usual responsibilities until the child demonstrates that they've grown enough that they can take over for decision-making. We do plenty of things against children's consent that we don't feel are morally wrong. Schooling, for instance.
Well, whether you feel they're morally wrong or ethically wrong or whether you do or don't is irrelevant to this fucking subject. All right? The end result has been spelled out for you. There will be a certain percentage, a pretty high percentage of human beings who will find your fucking experiment goddamn obnoxious. And they're saying you have no right to conduct it until you can exclude them, okay, from a possibility. So until you can make them as dumb as you, just as stupid as you, just as sick as you, just as sadistic as you, just as fucking goddamn masochistic as you, just as much of a smelly pile of fucking pus as you, all right, you have no right to impose it on betters than you.
How many children want to go to school? Yet until a certain age, the parents decide whether or not they go to school, get homeschooled, or private schooled, but they're still going to get schooled. They're still going to get educated. It's not their decision as to whether or not they're going to get educated or not.
Well,
in the anti-natalist case,
I mean, you learn how to smoke.
If I were to go back right now and they gave me the option of being born or not, I'd choose being born.
So what? Again, this is not the fucking subject. Your stupid, idiotic, moronic psychology, the fact that you are a complete asshole and don't even know how to fucking goddamn smoke, is sort of goddamn irrelevant to the subject of antinatalism, which is a statement claiming that people don't have a right to impose on all these other sentient creatures. They don't have a right to sit there and presume the experiment to be beneficial. They have to demonstrate it to be beneficial. Period. There's no demonstration, there's been no proof, no evidence, no anything of any kind of purpose here. The only people that have any claim to purpose are ones who believe in a fucking fictitious God.
The fact that you or other people wouldn't is insufficient reason to dictate to anyone that they don't.
Okay, fine. So we're back to the rape analogy, so now you've just taken the veto away from the woman, okay? Now the woman does not have a right to veto rape because most women, although they say no, 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 they mean yes, 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 and therefore you can rape the one woman because these other ones like being raped, okay? So you lose, you fail, you're just a fucking hypocrite and a duplicitous one at that. All right, you're weaseling out of a simple thought experiment, and now you're breaking the fucking goddamn rules. Fuck you.
That if they have a kid, they're wrong. In your video, you said that the antinatalist is just trying to take away my right to rape, but that's not the case. If that were the case, then being born would necessarily, 100% of the time, lead into rational adults coming to the conclusion that they wish they were never born.
Right, so again, the rape analogy was pretty goddamn clear. I didn't say all women hated rape. That's not what I said. I said, here we go. Most women like being raped. That's the argument, okay? Most women, although they say no, really do enjoy it. The few that don't is the question. And now, should there still be a law against rape? Even though most women admit that after the fact they enjoyed it, should we still have a law against rape to protect the women who don't?
And that is not the case. I'm proof of that. You said that if I wanted to clone...
You're proof of nothing. You're just proof that ignorant, dumb, stupid retards, okay, will play stupid, idiotic games. That they won't understand the consequences of their actions, and they will cause harm and suffering to other sentient beings because they're ignorant, stupid, motherfucking pieces of goddamn fat, flabby shit.
Myself and fine, but I can't have children. I have to ask, what is the substantive difference between a clone of me and a child of mine? Aside from the genetic differences between me and a child as opposed to me and my clone, there really is no difference. Nothing dictates that my clone will be exactly like me and be predisposed to the optimism that I have, because, as you said, we don't inherit our philosophy.
Well, as I also said, the psychology of the clone would have to be created to be matching your own psychology. I did say that in the fucking video, so obviously you didn't listen to the fucking video, okay? I mean, I made it very clear the psychology would match, okay? The fact is, it's hard to get the same psychology in a non-clone, so it just makes it easier. If you take the clone, then you have the same foundation, you have the same, angsty level, and then it's more likely that you can create the same psychological phenomenon, the same psychological character, and so then, yeah, go ahead and torture yourself forever.
Speak from our genes. You started off giving me the Frankenstein thought experiment, which sort of just kind of ended in you answering your own question, but let me go ahead and answer it anyhow.
Yeah, I didn't answer it. I put it right to you, fuckhead. I said plainly. I mean, come on, this is just such bullshit. I answered my own question? No, I asked you plainly. What is the Frankenstein circumstance? There they are. You're saying they're being assholes if they suggest stopping Dr. Frankenstein. That's your fucking goddamn argument, shithead. Now explain to me how they're assholes if they think the idea would be to stop Dr. Frankenstein. God, you really do suck, you fucking evasive, duplicitous piece of shit.
To clarify, the thought experiment is that Frankenstein, or somebody, some mad scientist, is making monsters in 10 by 10 by 10. 9 out of 10 of them turn out perfectly fine, looking good, feeling good, being optimistic, they're wet in their panties, as Gary said. But one of them, every time, ends up being thrown out the back door of the castle, deformed and miserable. So what should these deformed things do? Gary said that they should just try and stop the experiments. No more monsters may be created. I disagree. I think the option is that they should is not that they should stop the experiments. I think the option that they should take is the virtuous option, the good option.
Oh, fuck you, you fucking creep. Alright, I made it quite clear. They have two fucking choices. They either fix the experiment or they end the experiment. That's what I explicitly said, you fucking cunt. You lying cunt. Alright? And then what I said pretty goddamn clearly is you don't have any fucking hope of fixing the goddamn experiment. So let's remember, antinatalism is about all sentient life in this fucking planet, you shithead. And I said pretty goddamn clearly that you're not going to be able to give all the fucking insects that are going to get eaten today goddamn morphine, are you? Are you going to go give all the reptiles morphine? Are you going to give every mammal on this planet, every piece of roadkill morphine? Are you going to spare it the horror, you fucking cunt? No, you're not going to do a goddamn thing except to eat your big fat pig dinner, right? You fuck.
This would be to make an attempt at perseverance. To make the attempt at becoming better than they are.
Oh, please. They're not fucking imperfect. What they are is... they're not imperfect in terms of their character, you stupid shit. They have beautiful character. Alright? What they don't have is a capacity to live in shit. They don't have a capacity to skip over the skulls. They don't have a capacity to play your silly fucking puke goddamn games, to wave their little flag in your goddamn disgusting parade of disgusting debauchery, you stupid fucking cunt. You can't, again, so that's your solution for them. This is how they fix their problem, is to ignore their problem, is to pretend their problem isn't a problem. I mean, yeah, break the thought experiment. Just like a Pyrrho, you can't stick to the fucking goddamn rules. Do I have to explicitly say that there's no cure for their Frankenstein disease? That there's no way to fix the fact that they're too fucking smart to live in your puke?
Some could even find solace in the fact that they appreciate how bad life can get more than the successful experiments could ever recognize.
Yeah, die, you fucking piece of shit. Die horribly. As bad as it can goddamn get, that's what you goddamn deserve.
So an argument could even be made that it's not even guaranteed they'll end up hating life. They might even end up appreciating it more because they've received the short end of the stick.
Yeah, well, I can't wait till you're in a goddamn wheelchair, you stupid piece of shit. I just can't fucking goddamn wait!
And believe it or not, this can happen. You can find people who are born without arms or legs and other body parts that are...
Oh, yeah, so again, and what are they? They are completely deluded. A lot of them are deluded by the God delusion, and then a lot of them are deluded by some other desperate delusion, some other clinging, desperate perception of value and meaning, all right? And it's made out of goddamn shit. But there's also plenty of people, they've made movies about them, whose life is it anyway, all right, who find that abhorrent, who find it disgusting to accept that goddamn circumstance, you fucking cunt. And again, it's you think you have a right to tell them what they should think. Fuck you.
Generally speaking, happy people. I went to school with several. You also made the clarifier...
I went to school with a couple who fucking goddamn suffered and died. That's what they goddamn did, shithead. They suffered and then they fucking died.
The experiment that making these lives accomplishes nothing. Well, you can't really say that. You don't know what the experiments will wind up going around and doing. You don't.
Yeah, we do. We have the testimony. We're saying it right to your motherfucking face, you goddamn cunt. All right, so we're living testimony right here saying, fuck you, you fucking disgusting piece of shit. Leave your crap out of my consciousness, you fucking cunt.
Know that they might find their own subjective purpose in life. You don't know that they won't go on to accomplish things. You just sort of make the presupposition on your part.
No, again, so this is how you deal with the thought experiment. Just evade it, just ignore it, and then now play games with exactly the inverse could be said to you. The little happy, skippy girls, we could just talk about how, well, yeah, they start off all happy and skippy, and then they become alcoholics, and then they become... they get divorced 3 times, and then like somebody I know who was, I went to school with, and she just killed herself, right, at 50. So yeah, she skipped along for a while, and then she fucking had to kill herself. So yeah, all the happy ones can convert into goddamn unhappy ones too, shithead. So that's a bullshit argument. You're going to talk about well, there are these cases where the little sad person becomes a little happy person. Well, there's little happy people that come goddamn Frankenstein, okay? They end up in the ditch too. Fucker.
Or in your personal philosophy that nothing can be accomplished aside from dying, and you don't know that, nor have you given an argument to that effect. You said that my only recourse would be to say, I think it's okay to give these experiments, but that's not true, as I think I made clear within this video and prior.
I don't think you made anything clear. What is your opinion? Is it okay or not okay? Obviously, you're saying it's okay. You're saying antinatalism is a joke, so obviously you're saying it's okay to freely and recklessly natal.
You asked me for the rational, non-joke answer, but I have a feeling that any answer that doesn't agree with you, no matter how reasonably presented, would be considered.
Well, look, jackass. Why the fuck would I say, oh, that's an answer that doesn't agree with me, therefore, oh, I'm wrong. I should just arbitrarily say it. I shouldn't have to be convinced by it. And so exactly how would I be convinced by your drivel and your mush? I've already declared the simple premise, and you can't deal with the simple premise. I gave you a simple thought experiment, and you broke it. What else can I fucking do? There's no other fucking way to argue this. You think something else has value in the universe except for the comfort level of sentient beings. Well, there isn't anything, because if you take sentient beings out of the universe, you're gonna fail to describe to me anything of meaning in the universe.
a joke answer. However, I'm not going to play by your rules here. If your refutation of my answer is just, that's a joke and you're an idiot, then you haven't really successfully refuted it, have you? You need to point out where my logic is insufficient, specifically.
Well, specifically, there's no such thing as any of the crap you're talking about, these phenomenon, this psychological babble of virtue and independence and whatever the other thing is, cardboard, I don't know, this nonsense that you say has meaning and has value weight. I'm saying has no value weight. I can't see it. What, am I supposed to disprove your God? So you have the God of virtue. It's my obligation to explain how virtue doesn't exist. No, I think it's your obligation to explain how virtue does exist as some sort of meaningful fucking thing. And I think you're going to have to give me evidence that is something other than, well, all us virtuous people think so. Huh?
This reflects my feelings I expressed in my original video about why I feel arguing antinatalism isn't too fruitful of a thing to do. You also added that you were performing this experiment, should you be performing this experiment, the government would require a plan, some sort of accomplishment. I think that the artificial creation of life and mastering it and perfecting it as well as possible is a sufficient reason for the government to quite literally not only advocate that it's okay to do this experiment, but possibly even just throw millions of dollars at you in order that you succeed in this experiment.
Right, that's why we have laws against people throwing darts at rats. So it'd be perfectly reasonable for the government to say, I can do an experiment, I'll create sentient organisms that will be born with all kinds of defects and horrors and harms and sufferings they'll be endured, and I don't have to justify it, I don't have to explain what's going to be accomplished. I just have to say I want to do it. That's all I have to say. I want to do it. It's going to cause animals grief and suffering. That's all I have to do. No, I'm sorry, that's not going to work. I'm not going to be able to get my fucking FDA approval with I want to. I'm going to have something besides I fucking want to do it. And you don't have that for life on this fucking goddamn planet. Again, explain to me how we have a Martian deficit or a Venetian deficit or a Plutonian deficit. That was in the video too. You've obviously ignored that.
You said that we will find no needs except the needs that we create. To which I can only reply, so what? The fact that we create...
So what? Yeah, right. So what to the most important word in probably the universe. Okay, because need has encompassed in it an appreciation for things like harm. The need to avoid harm. So yeah, the most important word in the universe, and you just say, so what?
Needs isn't a bad thing, and I find the existence of needs a good thing. I'm not sure where you're going with this by...
Right, the need not to die of smallpox is a good thing. No, I'm afraid it isn't a good thing. I'd rather not have that need.
Saying that we all create our own needs, really, or where the moral argument goes from there. You said that without us, there is no problem. Without Martians, there's no problem on Mars, and so on and so forth for all the other planets. So without any living sentient creature, there is no problem. However, then it is also true that there is no goodness either.
Well, I'm not going to argue with you. Where is the goodness deficit? Measure it for me. Show me one person that's distressed by the goodness deficit that exists on Mars, Venus, Pluto, Saturn. Where is there evidence of the goodness deficit? Shouldn't something called goodness, if it doesn't exist, if it's missing, shouldn't we all notice that it's fucking missing?
When your solution to getting rid of badness is to get rid of goodness, who exactly are we getting rid of badness for? It's not that...
We don't get rid of it for something, quite obviously, because the bad is created by something sentient, and so you get rid of it for the sentient. If there is no sentience, then there is no one who needs to be comforted anymore, so you don't have to do anything anymore, dumb fuck.
The non-existence of problems is good, it's just that it's not anything. So you don't advocate for an existence of good, you advocate for an existence of nothing. And that hasn't been justified. You say that...
Well, again, you say it hasn't been justified. No, you haven't been convinced that somebody else's harm is enough harm for you not to be a reckless motherfucking cunt, asshole, selfish bastard. That's some silly notion in your head that Earthlings need to be here more than Martians need to be here because Martians aren't here and no one gives a fuck. But somehow, because if Earthlings weren't here, somebody would give a fuck. No, no one would be here to give a fuck, would they? That's right, by your own stupid cunt logic, nobody would be here to give a fuck that the Earthlings weren't here anymore, would they? No, you're the one giving a fuck. You're the one causing the experiment. You're the one causing the suffering, and you're the one not taking responsibility for it. Fuck you, cunt.
our existence creates problems, and that's the problem. However, you're aware that we are also the source of our own solutions.
Yes, and I've made it quite clear that we solve 1/10 of the problems we create and give ourselves little trophies because we solve 1/10 of the problem. Guess what? Okay, 9/10 of the problem still exists, so that's called fucking goddamn failure. If you make a goddamn mess and you clean up, if you shit in somebody's living room and clean up 10% of it, you don't really deserve a trophy, do you, fuckwit?
Including you feeling that you have the solution to the problem. So finding solutions is...
No, I'm arguing that it is the only logical thing. You have two choices again, shithead. You either fix the experiment or you stop the experiment. That's the only rational recourse for those being opposed upon, isn't it? Is there some other rational choice they have besides your nonsense, your vague, idiotic... Well, just change your entire disposition and say, I like being stuck in assholia. No, that would be being an asshole. There's no bigger asshole than somebody who chooses to say it's okay to live in assholia.
It's a good thing, right? So without us, we can't find solutions to our problems, right? So by getting rid of us, you get rid of anything that...
Well, that's just plain circular logic, isn't it? That's right. Because there is no problem if you get rid of us. So then you don't need us to fix the problem.
That's good. I don't think that's very moral. You ended your video by basically repeating fuck you a bunch of times and then saying that I can't prove anatalism is a joke. And I think my first video and this one are at the very least starts to that.
No, they're nothing. They're absolutely vacant crap, okay? You fucking suck. You are the hedonist, you are the selfish motherfucker, and you are the thin-thinking, ignorant bastard.
So,